Yes,
You know,
it is.
that's the kind of snow we're going to see here in town in just a little bit, those big fat flakes, because this is different than January 28th. The whole atmosphere was cold. Remember, it was 24
Yes.
degrees, so
Yes.
that snow was coming down in a furious powder. This is snow that's kind of melting on the way down, so that's why it kind of looks fluffy, and that's why Caitlin was making that nice snowball. Hey, let's show you another shot. You know Bryant-Denny Stadium. There it is. Sing the song, Jim.
Wait a second. I get them all confused. I can't sing it. I don't think I'm going to use that for.
Okay.
It's called Snow is Falling.
Snow is falling, and sure enough, it's falling furiously in front of Bryant-Denny Stadium. And now let's switch another view to show you what it looks like outside. This is out in Fayette. And again, the snow is actually coating the streets there. Caitlin McCulley was showing us earlier up in Coleman that it's not really sticking to the streets yet, but it is starting to do so, even though some roads have been treated. Now the temperatures are dropping at the ground. That's the other thing I want to show you. We pull up a source here that lets us see the temperatures as well as the radar at the same time. I won't stay on this very long, but I do want to show that the temperatures have been dropping all day. So we started out, look at Tuscaloosa, 40 degrees, now 39. Over here in Gadsden, they were 34, 32, now dropping. So the temperatures are dropping as the precipitation is falling. Let's switch it back to our regular view of the radar without the numbers on it, because I do want to point out again that we're starting to see this system wrap up. You saw Ted McInerney earlier. He was saying, well, I'm not seeing a whole lot. Very, very light precipitation there. He's about where the N is in Birmingham. That's what Tuscaloosa looks like. So it's a mix of some big fat flakes that are actually freezing up on the way to the ground. That's one of the reasons why the radar looks bright like this. And then here's Fayette. So you see all the bright white there. All this is wrapping up. And as the atmosphere gets colder, all this moisture will be scooped up into the cold air, and that's when we'll start to see the heavy snow, probably in about another hour or so. Already an inch on the ground in Bear Creek, half an inch up in sections of Marion County, actually close to an inch in the Hamilton area. Temperatures falling, 32 Asheville, 32 Bluntsville, 34 Birmingham, 39 Tuscaloosa. So that's what we've been watching all day. Temperatures falling as the precipitation falls. That's what's going to make the snow stick. Now, our exclusive TitanCast computer model shows the snow continuing through 6:30, continuing through 7, 8 o'clock. It's still there. It'll sort of taper off when we get to maybe 8 or 9 o'clock, and then the whole mass of snow pushes off to the east after midnight. But again, we're looking at some substantial snowfall totals. We could be at least over an inch here in the Birmingham area, and as we mentioned, going up 59, up toward Gadsden and going east toward Anniston, they could be looking at 3 to 4, maybe even 5 inches in some spots. So it's really, really a mess going on out there. All set up by what I consider to be a classic weather situation. High pressure to the north and east, bringing the cold air in. Moisture out of the Gulf, dumping up on top of the cold air, basically like a snow machine. And as these two systems continue to crank up, the snow is spreading all the way from Atlanta to sections of Charlotte over to Raleigh, and it's also a lot of ice mixed in with that. We're fortunate so far we haven't had to deal with the ice, but that might be something that happens because whatever doesn't melt over, or whatever doesn't stick overnight will ice up, because we're going to see the temperatures drop below the freezing mark statewide by first thing tomorrow morning. We will thaw out tomorrow. That's the good news. Temperatures will climb into the 40s. We'll continue to track the weather and have an update on the snow when it gets to Birmingham in just a few minutes.